I'm asked on almost a daily basis, Theo, I would like something like a Mercedes S-Class in a little bit more of a sporty package, but I want it to be good value. And on a daily basis, I reply with the exact same answer. Get yourself a CL500. Hello and welcome to the C215 generation Mercedes CL. That's right, today I've got the keys to this undeniably awesome German bruiser, a real unsung hero and rapidly appreciated modern classic. It's a 2000 Mercedes CL500, and today we're going to have a look inside, outside, get it out on the road, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about why I think this is a bit of an underrated car and a very good buy at the moment. So let's get into it. Introduced in 1998, the C215 was the second generation of Mercedes' flagship CL class, their executive sports coupe. It built on the W220 S-Class chassis but utilised unibody construction to bring down weight and pack it to the rafters with technology, and in this case, a thumping great V8. The 215 was a popular thing and had a lengthy production run spanning just shy of a decade, with the last few models rolling off the line in the 2006-7 production year. And I think a lot of that comes down to the styling. Just look at it from this angle, it's an incredibly lovely looking thing. It's a pillarless coupe and it's aged very, very well indeed. If you had a dateless private registration on this, I think most people would be surprised to find out it's 25 years old now. Perhaps one of the more interesting things about this car comes in terms of its suspension. It's hydro-pneumatic, it's adjustable on the fly, if you will. As you get up into the top speed, it will hunker down, it will lower down, it makes itself more planted, more aerodynamic, so you can really push it to the max in your getting on for 2-ton Executive Express. Now, this particular car is shod with some aftermarket alloys from a Chrysler Crossfire, rather interestingly, but aside from that, it remains a very original example. Look at it in all of its glory. Inside is almost untouched and mileage is low at just over 85,000. So let's crack on and have a look inside at where all the goodies are. See, it's in here where the 215 really succeeds. It's somewhere where Mercedes have long excelled, especially in their luxury sector. It's the technology. There is so much of it in here. When you consider this is a 25-year-old car, yet you have electric memory seating, pulsing massage seats, a TV, there's a phone in here. I've even got an electric rear window blind. It's a wonderfully nice and pleasant place to be. There isn't really anything else I could want for. A lot of people like to talk about reliability when it comes to Mercedes of this era, especially when it comes to the in-car technology, but this car says otherwise. Everything that I have at disposal here still works. The rear window blind still works. The TV still works. Everything, even the Linguatronic audio request system, works as it should. Well, I say as it should, none of these ever work, but it functions as Mercedes intended it to. The 215 was available with a variety of engines, but it was the 500 that everyone seemed to go for. The 5-litre V8 provided a really good balance of V8 torque and performance with a nice level of economy and general reliability. That being said, if you wanted to take things up a notch, a CL55 with a 5.5-litre was available, or you could even go for a 6-litre or eventually 6.3-litre V12 towards the end of production. Now, those cars are a little bit more sought after, but being a V12, they are also a little bit more expensive to run and can be more temperamental. That's why my money goes here, on an 8-cylinder. So we've had a look inside at all of the many features. We've had a look under the bonnet at all the many cylinders. That leaves only one thing to do, get it out on the road. So let's fire it up. So, got the keys to the CL500, let's rack up some miles. The first thing that strikes you when you look at this car is its size. It's a vast thing, and as such, when you get behind the wheel, you expect it to handle pretty much like an ocean liner, but it actually doesn't. It masks its weight and size really rather well. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't a track-focused performance car, but it does get along the road very nicely, and there's a distinct lack of uncertainty and waft and wobble in the corners. Road holding is really quite impressive. You could throw it into a corner at a respectable speed and it just feels very contained and tight and precise. But when you put your foot down, it does feel like it has the torque of an ocean liner. That V8 in this CL500 is a very, very good engine. It gets up and goes when you want it to, and it has a lovely soundtrack. It's not obnoxious or brash, but reminds you, yeah, there's 8 cylinders under the bonnet and they're getting you along the road very, very nicely. In the same breath though, this is a performance coupe, but it is every bit an S-Class. Obviously this is based on the W220 S-Class, and it does feel, when you're not pushing it and you're just pootling around on the little country lanes and around town, like you're still in an S-Class. The fit and finish in here is remarkable, and as such there's nothing in the way of cabin creak or noise like that, and these seats just swallow you up. Anything in the way of imperfections on the road are pretty much null and void in this car. When I drive this car, I can't help but wonder why they aren't more popular. I know there is obviously a question about running costs, but this is so much car for the money. If you're in the market for something like an S-Class, but one in a little bit of a different package, maybe a little bit smaller, you don't like that classic 4-door styling, you have to consider one of these CLs. It's such a quality car. Spend any amount of time with it and you'll quickly realise that. It is remarkably quiet in here. I'm doing 30 miles an hour and it feels like I'm still in bed. There's nothing in the way of harshness from the ride, and there isn't really anything in the way of engine note either. For round town city driving, the steering has an incredibly light feel. Not so light that it feels vague, but it's at a very nice point. It's very well balanced. What a wonderful machine. So the C215 generation CL class, what do I think? I think this is a generation of Mercedes that has been slept on for far too long. It's vastly underappreciated in my opinion. Hopefully these begin to come into their own as people realise how much car you can get for your money with one of these. A very good example can be sub £5,000, and when you look at what you're getting for that, you have to ask yourself, why wouldn't I? Now, obviously, there are some questions in terms of reliability. This car has hydro pneumatic suspension, a big V8 and lots of tech. There's lots of things to go wrong in principle, but these are top flight executive coupes. They were bought by people with a lot of money normally when new, and that means they've spent a bulk of their lifetime being well looked after. If you can find one that still to this day has been well looked after with a good service history, it's hard to really go wrong. These cars drive incredibly well. I would go for this, the 500, over the thirstier, slightly less reliable and a little bit temperamental V12. Yes, you do get 12 cylinders, and you can say, oh, my CL class has 12 cylinders and a 6.3 litre engine. But in the real world, this 500 is more than enough for what you need. It has a good level of torque, good power delivery and a sublime soundtrack. This is where my money goes. Thank you very much for watching our video review on this turn of the century Executive Express. I do hope you've enjoyed. If you like this sort of thing, please check out our other video reviews. And remember, if you have a classic car to sell, please do get in touch with us at classiccarbuyer.co.uk. We'd love to hear from you. Bye-bye.